So here I'm going to show you how to paint viscous slime coming out of a character's nose. I have this character already drawn and painted right here. So what I'm doing is using the pen tool to just create a general shape of the snot overall. It's going to be kind of hanging out of his nose and sort of dripping down into and out of his little hanky there that he probably stole from some old lady. Anyway, so I'm just kind of right here trying to figure out the general shape of how it's going to flow into the hanky. You can see I've deleted some anchor points there. I wasn't really happy with that, but now I'm just going to kind of have it flowing down into over the contours of the hanky, and it's just going to kind of be flowing out of the frame there. He's having a really bad cold. It must be flu season where he's at or whatever. But so now I've got the overall general shape. I'm going to start adding work paths to this to just kind of carve out holes to where we can see through, because it's not going to be one big solid mass. It's going to have like tendrils of snot dripping down, and yeah, it's gonna be really gross. And I'm just kind of varying the size of these a little bit and just adding a little, just kind of seeing what looks good for what we're going to be able to see through here, because I want to be able to see a little bit of his chin and mouth and everything. So I make a selection of that path, and then I just select kind of this slimy greenish yellow color, just solid color, and I just fill that layer. Then I lock the layer transparency and take an airbrush and start painting in some dark areas where it's kind of up against things, or in little nooks and crannies, and just kind of shadow areas. And the thing about slime is that it's generally translucent, so you're going to be able to see a little bit of what's behind it. So that's kind of what I'm painting in here. Right now I'm just kind of playing and seeing what looks good. See, already we've got kind of a nice translucent look to it. We can see the light background behind it. Now I'm just adding a little bit of dark, just dark stretches, and show a little bit of refraction, and so we can just kind of see the hanky behind the slime there. All right, saving a still image here. Anyway, so I've got that, some of the little shadowy areas. I'm adding a little bit more, dark to the nostril area there. And I'm just kind of trying to give it some form, and, breaking down my large forms into smaller forms, which is really, how you draw anything. You start big and then you work small. And now here I'm sort of painting in some of that. I've used the eyedropper to sample the background color, and I'm painting in some of that sort of purple pink background, and sort of adding to the transparent properties of the slime. And you can see I've got a pretty good shape going on here. Now I'm grabbing a very bright highlight color, and I'm dabbing in glossy highlights, because slime is going to be very it's translucent, but it's also very highly glossy. So you're gonna have very sharp, crisp highlights. And I'm going around, maybe seeing if it needs a highlight a little bit lower. Probably not. yeah, adding just kind of calculating where the main light is hitting the slime right now, and adding just little point highlights to that. And here I'm adding kind of an outline to the overall shape. I've unlocked the transparency of the layer again, so I can now just paint freely and add to the shape. And I'm just sort of adding a kind of a dark, very dark green outline color to just sort of match the style of the rest of the drawing or the painting, because you want it to blend into the scene. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm just filling in those dark nooks and crannies with my dark values, and just kind of getting it to look like it belongs in this scene. I have a very the style, and well, I guess my style sort of evolved from the technique that I like to work in, which is I like to do pencil line drawings first, and then like real world actual pencils, and then scan them in at high resolution into Photoshop, and then take over digital painting from there. So it's sort of a kind of a comic book style, but it has more of a rough painterly quality. The lines, I don't do any actual inking like in a comic book. I just go with my pencils and I colorize those, and it works out pretty well. I'm pretty comfortable with that technique right now, and my style has sort of evolved out of that. Now I'm just adding a little more form to the slime trail. It's just kind of funny to be talking about this. Yeah, here I decided that kind of needs to connect up with the rest of the slime trail, because it's there's a lot of it, so it's gonna be a bit runny. But I'm leaving a little bit of that little flowery hanky poking through there, just to break it up a little bit. Now I'm still trying to figure out what looks good for really glossy highlights. Here I started one that kind of goes up like that, but I don't really like that, so I'm just kind of painting it out. I try not to use undo if I can. I find that if I make a mistake, I just paint over it, and it makes it, it just makes it the drawing and the painting more interesting. It gives it a little texture. Unless I really screw up badly, and then I accidentally delete a layer or something, and then I'll undo that. But so now I'm adding there's a secondary light source in this scene, so and it's kind of a rim light coming from the top right, so I'm adding that to the slime, and that's really making it pop. I think that's giving it it's really integrating it into the scene nicely, and it's giving it more volume. And I'm going to add a little bit of rim light to that bottom trail there, and again, just calculating where that secondary light is going to hit, and what sort of reflection we're going to, where we're going to see the reflection of that secondary light from the back right there, and adding a little bit form along the edge, a bit of form along the edges as well. And I figured that that rim light's going to go. That's going to go kind of run along the right edge of the whole right edge of the thing there. So that's about it. Add a little bit, a few more details here and there, make it kind of pop from the background, give it some nice contrast, and yeah, that's about it.